Hey, you guys, let's talk insurance. I do apologize for me being tardy. I was out here getting the bag. I don't know about y'all, but I for sure was out here just trying to get the bag. Make sure that you guys give StreamYard permission to use your name so that you guys can get some comments and get those insurance questions answered. Let me know. Do you have insurance already? Like, say something to me in the comments. Hey, y'all. And who do you have for insurance? And what do you know about having insurance? And I'm just going to try to get Tracy. We here, girl. All right. So, oh, you don't have insurance yet. Okay. Okay, well, I'm glad that you are going to learn all about it. Okay, you got your insurance through the NNA. Yep, I started with mine with the NNA. When I first got started, I had the $25,000 policy, I think, through the NNA. I think it was $30 is what I started with. But as I learned and grew in the business, I was like, but wait, there is so much more information. And again, y'all, I'm sorry that I was late, but yes, a girl was out here getting the bag. She done a purchase. I did my first commercial purchase. Woo woo, it was easy. And I did two wills, two powers of attorney, ended up doing a medical proxy and picking up another power of attorney for later, y'all. So without further ado, we are going to welcome Miss Tracy. If you guys don't know, she is in the Facebook group as Tracy Got Deals. She is always sharing those good deals, if it's for printers, if it's for donuts, if it's for whatever. She's always showing those deals. She is our house insurance resource along with our sister in signing. So I am going to add her to the stream and she is going to talk to us about insurance. Hey, girl, hey.
Oh, Lord. Hey. I look a mess.
You was cute. I'm loving the hair.
I'm trying to lean my head to the side. It's
Don't
like
be
when you're on
leaning
camera,
your head to
you
the
gotta go
side.
opposite. I feel like I'm balanced and I'm going the wrong direction. Anyway, hey y'all. This is weird. Okay. That was like really bothering me. Good afternoon. How is everybody?
Everybody is good. You're looking for
I
signing agent insurance?
yes. So,
First, introduce
insurance.
yourself. Tell the people who you are.
My name is Tracy, and I am everything that Ebony just told you guys. Commission. It's early. I'm in California. Pause. And I had a later night than I've had in quite some time. Pause a second time. You won't believe I
Mm,
didn't get home until 4 o'clock this morning. That's a whole other story.
mm.
And that's why I look the way I do. But my words are jumbling. So let's start over, okay? My name is Tracy. I am a commissioned notary public in the state of California, located in the Bay Area. And as Ebony said, I am the insurance resource in our Facebook groups here. A lot of you may have heard me speak over on Clubhouse, which is where I got that little task by always answering questions about insurance. At the beginning of last year, when everybody hopped on Clubhouse, I noticed the need to help educate people about insurance, specifically our errors and omissions at that time, because that's what everybody was asking about. But, as time progressed, there came more opportunities to talk about other insurances that we need that we're not required to have to do loan signings for those of us who are signing agents because they only ask for E&O. But there's a need for us to all have general liability insurance. So I started to talk more about that. And then, closer to year end, around the end of quarter three, definitely quarter four, we were talking a lot about cyber liability insurance. So if you guys are doing Ron, primarily. That's definitely something that you want to make sure you have, and potentially, an increased amount, just to make sure that the coverage is adequate for the work that you do and the potential, risk, because you're doing primarily remote signing. So, yeah, I'm also a signing agent, in addition to being a licensed insurance agent. So, and the deal lady. I do a lot of stuff. I wear a lot of hats. I walk in circus act. That's what I tell y'all. But specific to what we're here for today, my insurance agent hat is on, to help you guys understand insurance, mostly answer questions that you may have, and just kind of give you a quick, high level overview. So yeah, that's who I am, Miss Ebony.
All right. So help us understand, what is errors and omissions insurance?
Okay, so errors and omissions, and you know what I'm looking at? Actually, I probably could have. Well, I'll say that. I'll say that. Errors and omissions insurance. So, is what you'll see it as. Those are the acronyms. And, to be honest with you, it is an antiquated term. You're going to see it referred to now more as, professional liability. The notary industry is probably one of the only places where you see people who are asking of it refer to it as E&O. So that's the first thing. So if you've been looking and you don't see E&O, but you've seen professional liability, it's synonymous. They're the same. It's a modern day, term for what we traditionally called errors and omissions. But professional liability, whichever you choose to refer to it as, is all the same. Protects your business. And this is an official definition I'm reading. I got my little slides together.
All right. All right.
It protects your business against claims of negligence, misrepresentation, or mistake. Typically, the allegation is that your services, products, or employees cause someone a financial damage to a third party, regardless of fault. Um, where am I here? Litigation is expensive. It drains time and damages reputation, potentially. Professional liability insurance can protect professional service providers from potentially devastating financial damages resulting from alleged negligence or error in the delivery of your services. Now, that was a bunch of insurance jargon. What that means is it's going to provide coverage for you as a notary public in the capacity of that job function and what you are legally allowed to do based on your designation. So we're here to, witness signatures, um, help, prevent fraud is our first job. So we're going to witness signatures, and we're going to confirm the validity of a person's identity. So confirm that they are who they say they are. Those are the two most important roles, or the first roles, as a notary before anything else comes into play.
Right.
And your professional liability. So, based on what I just read to you, where it was more in general claims of negligence, misrepresentation, or mistake, your service product may have caused. You're providing the service of being a notary public, so your notarial acts. Okay.
Okay.
And it's for mistakes that you may make. Potentially you ID the wrong person, and we have such a high, um, you know, propensity for something like that to happen. It could be negligence, it could be mistake, it could be you got caught up in a ring of people who were doing some bad stuff, and they were really good at it, and there was no way for you to even know that that wasn't John Doe because they had a whole fake ID. You know, um, that's not your fault at all. But if there's a bigger case where there's a ring of people, and this happens where they have people who are in every level of whatever it takes for loans to be funded. There's a crooked person, and then you have the innocent, um, none the wiser notary who gets sent out to do the job, and you confirm the ID that you saw that was valid. Turns out the whole ID was fake. Just like you can get a designer replica bag on the streets that people with the naked eye can't tell the difference. Stuff can happen. Um, and in the event that that happens, more than likely it's not going to fall back on you because you're not a part of the ring. You were just an innocent person who was assigned the job and you wouldn't did it. As long as you're doing everything that you know that you're supposed to do, confirming that the name matches the name on the documents, confirming that the picture on the ID is the picture of the person in front of you that is about to execute the documents, cross-reference the signatures from the ID to what they signed in your journal and what they're putting on the documents, because those are the kind of questions that you'll be asked if you have to go to court to defend yourself. So you always want to make sure you do your due diligence, cross your T's and dot your I's to make sure you are doing what you are supposed to do to prevent something like this from happening. You go to court, you answer the questions based on whatever it is they, want you to recall. If anything, I ain't gonna recall nothing. We do too many signings, so that's why it's
Right.
good to note in your journal properly what you're doing and know that you have a process in place. It's the biggest thing, because if we're out without the shadow of a doubt, if you know that you always collect a thumbprint. I don't care what the signing is, I get a thumbprint every time. The reason why, and this is just me, I'm not saying you guys have to do that, but what I'm saying that you have to do is have a routine and process, because that's my recommendation. Because if you do the same thing every single time, it's consistent. You're making sure that nothing is being forgotten about because, it wasn't required on this one, but it was required on that one. Do it every time. You get a routine, you're used to it. That way yes, I swear everybody in, period. I confirm. Is this your usual signature? I confirm. Are you executing these documents voluntarily? I confirm. Do you agree that the information you're providing is correct to the best of your knowledge? I say that to every single person. You know why? Because I'm not going to remember a signing from 3 years ago, 5, 10 years ago if they called me in. But what I'm going to know for sure is this is what I ask every person. So if they did something, that means they good with their magic tricks. You know what I'm saying? I said all that to say, this isn't a case where something happened that it was not your fault. You still need defense. You still need defense. Then you still need to make sure that you're going to be in the clear because you've done what you know you're supposed to do. And as a notary, we're here to help prevent fraud. That doesn't mean that we're going to prevent it every time.
Right. So now I hear a lot of people say that, E&O insurance doesn't cover me in my signings, but it would cover you for your nocturical act, right? Like what you just said. If I did a signing, like today I did a purchase, and say that John Doe, 2 years later, John Doe is not John Doe, and they like, look, you were the notary. He said he was John Doe, but he was not John Doe. We need to know what happened.
So they want to call you in. So since
right.
This is not him, why did you say it was him? Well, because he had an ID that based on, what I believe it was the same man on the picture. I held it up. I compared the faces. I compared the names. I compared the signature. I swore him in. He swore.
Yeah. My E&O insurance will cover my defense for this, right? If I need to hire an attorney.
Your defense, and that's the other thing about it, which was the point I was getting about. If it's not your fault, whether you're found liable or not, you're going to need defense, and that's going to cost. Those legal fees add up. It covers that.
Okay.
Now, we can't say that every single case that's filed is something that, if you're found liable, that's going to be paid. No insurance, car insurance, home insurance, business insurance, vacation insurance. But It tells you based on what you do, these are the types of things that are covered. So I'm saying that to say everything is a case by case basis.
Okay. Everything is a
And I
case by
tell
case
people this
basis.
all the time. The insurance industry wants to collect your premium, and they also don't want to pay if something happens. I don't care what company it is. And you're like, what? That's just an industry thing. Don't tell them I told y'all. But that's the biggest reason that I say to make sure that you've done what you are supposed to do to protect you and your business every single time, because they won't be able to not pay on a technicality. Well, oh, you didn't swear them in? Oh, she never held the ID up and compared it and looked at your face to the thing. Hmm. She didn't confirm this was your signature. Oh, you told her that your last name is Junior. I mean, your last name that you have Junior, but you just didn't put it on your ID and she proceeded anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, you want to make sure you're doing everything right. And those
Okay.
juniors, seniors, the thirds, those
Okay.
are.
But okay, but the okay, so let's just recap. E&O and professional liability is all the same thing, right?
Yep. A&O, or errors and omissions, is what that stands for. It's just an antiquated term. It's old school, 70s,
Right.
80s. Errors
Professional
and omissions.
liability insurance. If I'm in a closing and somebody gives me a fake ID and I end up in court, I'll be able to call my insurance company. I need to be, now I let them know that I've been, I guess, subpoenaed.
Yep. And what's the next step? You start a claim.
Okay, and you start a claim. Okay. A lot of people's questions are, well, how do I know how much insurance to get? We know that, like, if you're a signing agent, we're talking NNA, their recommendation is like 25,000. I know after I met with you and everything, I was able to increase my policy and make different changes to my policy, but it was only after learning and speaking with you. So how do you get covered if you're, like for a person like me? I did wills and POAs today. I've done both today. I've done general notary today, and I've done loan signing. I do have, for Ebony's mobile notary, I have one policy of professional liability insurance. And it's for $1 million. I chose that because of the amount of work that I do in the
Mm-hmm.
area that I live in.
Mm-hmm. As far as it
So,
relates to properties.
right, right. Now, say like I did the POAs this morning, and they go, well, he didn't really mean to give power of attorney to Jane Doe, and now it's being contested. Will my same professional liability insurance cover me there if I need to
You're
go to
still
court?
acting as a notary in that
Yes,
role?
yes. Perfect, perfect.
So to
Okay.
answer your specific question about coverage, um, the simple way for me to answer that is you need to get what you're comfortable with, going out and doing your job and having peace of mind and being able to sleep at night, knowing that if something happened, you have an adequate amount of coverage that, will cover something that happens. Now, it's a thing that's interesting. Or how do you determine that? The first thing that I want people to know about determining the amount of liability coverage that you should have, um, is that amount isn't determined by your income or your assets. You need to get an amount that you feel is adequate for what someone believes you are responsible for as it relates to a financial loss that they have sustained. So, in your power of attorney situation, you did the notarization granting power of attorney to Jane Doe. It was a malicious, fraudulent act that occurred, and Jane took whoever the subject was that she was power of attorney over and got him for 2.5 million because she you know, signed off in a whole nother fraudulent transaction on the sale of some properties of his. And because she had power of attorney, she's beneficiary or power of attorney or whatever. I mean, not throw the wrong terms out, but she got herself onto the bank accounts and has access because she's power of attorney and she has documents to prove it. When people say, "Oh, I'm power of attorney," okay, well, I need a copy of that.
Right.
And the notarization is along with that copy. So she's going around collecting money all throughout the town. You know, she done came up and now she's caught, and the person who she's stealing from says, "Yeah, we've tallied up everything. It's to the tune of $2.5 million that I've lost because of her. She took my money." And this person right here notarized this power of attorney and confirmed that and this is not Jane Doe. I actually don't even know this woman. So now John Doe says that you're responsible for him losing $2.5 million roughly from this lady who pretended to be someone that she was not and granted herself power of attorney.
Okay.
$2.5 million.
2.5 don't hit nothing on my $1 million.
If you got $25,000 in coverage as a notary. That's a very extreme example. Has and will stuff that like that happen to people? Yeah. The likelihood, probably not that great. That's very extreme. Those are extreme numbers, but it can happen. So, but I just want you to have an understanding of what that liability amount covers. It covers what someone says it's your fault. Ebony, it's your fault I lost this money. And you got to pay me back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we've covered, okay, let's see. Now, what happens if you know where I'm going with this? Your bag. When you went to the lady's house.
So we switching gears. We going to
because I need to know liability. Like what would cover over that way. So can you tell that story and then maybe say like even though I know you didn't get sued or anything, but in the event, right? So if you could share that.
So now Ebony's talking about general liability, which is a modern day term. Traditionally, that was referred to as slip and fall coverage, and you're not going to hear that called that. But the reason why I say it is so you can remember what general liability covers you for. It's for damage that you may have done, meaning responsible for, or even just accused. Because just accused is the biggest thing, because people are accused of a lot more than they're actually responsible for. Pause. I love examples. This is not general liability specific. It's just liability specific as a professional, as a brand. Black China thought she was going to get something because she accused the Kardashians and Jenners of being the reason why she lost her show on VH1. And they made her lose something to the tune of over $2 million. I don't know how much it was. Yeah, she lost that case. It wasn't their fault. But they still needed to defend themselves.
Right.
Now, I'm sure they probably just cut a check.
Right.
But they probably didn't because they're rich. And why would they when insurance is going to pay for it? So they probably didn't. But they could have just cut a check to pay those legal defenses. But they are professionals. They're a brand. I don't know which type of liability, because liability is the same no matter what. But I just wanted to give a working example of what somebody can believe in their head. I'm emotional. I believe in my head you're responsible for it. So I'm going to blame you. I'm going to take you to court and sue you and try to get some money from you. Okay. But anyway, I just want to give that example because that was in the news. The general liability, someone believes you're responsible for damage to them, their person, like physical, which is bodily injury, or property damage, meaning something in their home or in their yard. Yesterday, there's this retirement community where I get a good amount of signings. I think a lot of people don't like to drive over because you got to cross a bridge and it's kind of in the boonies. But it's only about 27 minutes from my house, this particular community where a lot of people, and it's a retirement development. A lot of you guys remember Desperate Housewives with Stereo
Mm-hmm.
Lane?
Yeah.
It looks like that. It's like a perfect little community just in the middle of nowhere, but it's where a lot of people go to retire. But the streets are so narrow and they don't have anywhere for you to park. So the newer developments where it kind of has a little groove, but then it's like they're landscaping right there. I pulled up. I was like, "Oh my God, flowers!" I was so scared, but the street is so small that if you don't kind of hoist your car up to where it's kind of bent a little bit, you run the risk of the passing cars hitting you because you're too much in the street. And
Mm-hmm.
all I was thinking is, oh Lord, please don't mess up this lady's flower bed. This was just yesterday. I didn't. I did good. I had to move real slow, doing like the old people. Just trying to straighten my car up because I'm like, oh no. But that's their property. And had I messed up that landscaping, which was beautiful, I'm sure it cost a good little amount of money to get it done, to pay for the labor, to pay for the supplies, and the length of time that it takes. I don't know. I don't have a green thumb at all. I don't know what that would have came up to, but that could have potentially been a general liability claim because that is their property. And I was there on official business representing Notarized for You. And if there were damages and they wanted to, then they could have said, hey, you ruined this. This cost me X amount of money, and my time is worth money.
And that's a
So,
separate policy, right?
general liability. This is still general liability.
Still the same policy that we already,
The same second one. We moved away from E&O. Now we're talking about
and
general
now okay,
liability.
so hopefully everybody is catching it. So E&O is one,
Yeah,
and then
now we're
now we
on to general liability. Stuff
general
that you
liability,
can, this is tangible stuff.
tangible. Okay,
Where you've
okay,
broken something, damaged or destroyed something that belongs to the person that you are doing business with in your notary business. That could be something in their house, like my bag knocking over that planter.
okay,
Mm-hmm. Like the example from a year ago when I came behind the notary who put his phone on the table and it got so hot that it ruined her table.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right. So y'all, hopefully we've covered two policies, two different ones. Okay.
You can even be in Starbucks, even in somebody's house within your bag. Again, the strap is next to you, the bag is on the floor, somebody passes by, they fall down and break their leg and ankle, and they say they tripped over your shoulder strap because they fell in the vicinity of your bag. Maybe they tripped over it, maybe they didn't, but they gonna say they did.
Right, right.
So
Because
you can
people
pay
gonna be
that medical
people.
bill. So yeah,
Right.
that's general liability. We
Okay.
definitely need that. You're not going to hear the signing companies ask you for that because you don't need that to work with them, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that they will be liable for because they are not there. It is you that
Right.
is there.
So you want to make sure that you protect your business because
Right.
that's very important. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we want these signings, we want to get all the signings, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we got to protect our business as a whole.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So here's a question. Can you read it? You got it?
Had you read their landscaping and had to file a claim or any claim that does increase your rates at some point, like a car, any claim that is paid out is going to affect your rates at some
Okay.
level. Just always keep that in mind. And if it doesn't, you dodge the bullet.
Right. All right. So this one says, well, going back to your example, if they win, is it up to us to pay the 2.5 million? I don't think the
If it's
notary
settled
would
in their
be
favor,
right.
that's why we need insurance.
Yeah.
Now, the likelihood of that happening is another story, but if that were the case, absolutely. And if you don't have but 25,000, guess who you working for the rest of your life?
Because it'll be a judgment,
It'll
just
be a
like
judgment.
anything else.
And put a lien on your property. all your earnings.
Right.
So you have to be a cold hustler working under the table.
Right. So, Miss Pamela, you said how much coverage should you get? We can't decide that for you. Um, I know how
Yeah.
I can't decide that for you. You would have to, far as like general liability, when I decided I wanted to protect Ebony's mobile notary, once I found out what general liability was, and I probably could increase it, but again, it was personal preference and what fit into my budget. So for my general liability, I think my deductible is like 250, and then I want to say it's what does it say? It's like I did it according to like my car insurance, because I ended up getting it covered under like with farmers, because that's what I have for car insurance. So they worked it out, but I want to say I'm up to like 300,000 on general liability, and then for E&O professional liability, I got that separate because by the time I had reached Tracy, I had already had insurance. I'm with Viber, and I have $1 million policy there, and I probably could decrease it, but it's like an auto renew thing. I think it was like $300 for the year. But I put the link for you guys. If you need a quote, it's in the comments. If you guys
Or
need a quote,
policy.
and then I also put Miss Tracy's calendar in there to follow it up in case you need some one-on-one breakdowns in there. But you would have to decide on how much coverage you want to protect your business, and how much coverage do you want for your professional liability. How often, let's see, this one says, how often do you see large amounts of people that get I've not, but one thing that happened to me, my first power of attorney that I did, the guy was giving power of attorney to his neighbor. He said he didn't have no children. He didn't have, he just had his home, whatnot. He had been diagnosed with cancer. About 4 months later, he died. And all of a sudden, a daughter came out of nowhere and contested everything. So he called me, the best friend called me to let me know that ultimately his friend had passed away, and that there was a daughter that came out of nowhere, and that he was going back and forth to court, and he was not sure if the notary would be called into court. I never was called into court. And so I don't know. I've never been called into court, but that was the closest thing that I did. Was there was an issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's
I don't
see.
personally know those statistics, but I'm certain that you can Google it and see. But you have to know it happens a lot. If it wasn't something that was a high risk industry wide, it wouldn't be a requirement for everybody, you
Right.
know, for you to work with them. So that lets
Right.
you know how often stuff happens.
Okay. And Al Jenny said, what covers loan signings as far as dropping packages? Wouldn't that be the gap identity? There's a paper in there that covers far as dropping the documents, well, as far as the loan signings. If it gets lost,
We
there's
don't, we don't, there is a one policy that I talked to a guy about, but it was almost pointless because, which was specific loan signing agent. That's like a ghost policy that we really need to have exist, a classification, I should say, or policy type. And hopefully we're getting closer to it. But the one guy I talked to when I did a discovery call and somebody told me about him, I did some research. Um, you needed to be a notary for like 3 or 6 years. And then at that point, you could apply and they would either approve or disapprove that type of insurance for you. So for people who just starting out, if you ain't been doing it for X amount of years, then that particular policy, which I don't even know how adequate the coverages were, but it did exist because I didn't even know it existed.
okay.
That's kind of a slippery slope. I say if that says Al or Allie, but that's kind of a slippery slope, that question. And it is a gap in coverage. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Ebony, but there is a potential gap in coverage when you step out of your job as a notary and step into the role of a loan signing agent because of those particular things. What I tell people, because we don't know, is that pay attention to the companies that specifically exclude coverage on that type of stuff, because there are companies out there that state they will not cover A, B, C, D, E, and that's documents. Is this, is that. We know for sure they're not going to cover it. There is a potential that it could be argued that this was part of your job as a notary, depending on the company you have, what their reputation is, and what that particular situation is. I try not to get too hung up on that, because if the documents get lost,
you got your
print
receipt.
them. You print them and go back.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
that's almost a silly question to me, because there are so many other things that happen to documents, and we got to go back.
Yeah, we got to go back. So yeah, but as far as dropping them, just make sure and that's another thing that we always say, like, don't use a Dropbox. Use somewhere that you can get a receipt.
Yeah, and that's another thing about you doing your due diligence about what you're supposed to do. Now, I had a situation where a package potentially had gotten lost. I don't know what happened. All I said is, look, I dropped that package. Here's my receipt. I keep a receipt for everything. I keep them by the month. This is what I have a policy in place. And I've never had an opportunity to show this to y'all, but this is for the month so far. This is all of my receipts, and this is sidebar. But this is the big sticky note. Y'all might have heard me talk about it before, but I've never showed it. I put this on every file. I put the people's name. I put the company that I worked for, and I put the stamp. So just in the rare occasion that I don't get to write down everything I do in my journal at the table, I can come back. And I always tell them, don't print it out for me, the FedEx one. I need this because it's the perfect size for this. I put that here. And then I put it in my little paper clip, and I have my little file folder over here that I put it in. And then I reconcile at the end of the month. Make sure that sometimes I might be moving too fast. It don't happen often, but I'll be like, wait a minute, where'd this check come from? Or whatever. It seemed like I missed something. So I cross-reference this to my notary gadget to make sure that it's in my calendar. But when that lady was like, we don't have any information, I said, well, here's the receipt.
Yep. And then now you do. Yeah. Now.
So guess whose fault it is now? Now it's on FedEx and their insurance.
Right. Yeah. So that'll do it.
My attitude's so bad, I ain't even giving no more thought.
Right.
Y'all figure that out. I got my receipt, so I didn't worry about it. I didn't even consider that that's something that I could have possibly been sued for. Even though worst case scenario they could have, but I wasn't concerned because I dropped it and I have my receipt, so that was my proof. And I hold on to those for probably 60 days because that's just my daily stack. So I'll pull them for the next month, and then I keep them in a little thing, and then like every 30 or 60 days I shred all that stuff.
Okay, that's the admin day.
Because I like to try and just hold on to it until I've been paid.
Right.
Because just in case there are any questions. So but the questions that people have where they're panicking about, oh my God, they said the loan signing stuff. That's the first thing I say. Well, what if the package gets wet? Girl or boy, reprint them and you go back.
Right. Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it.
Inconvenience, but it's not like we're talking about a family heirloom that's irreplaceable. It's just a pain in the ass, but you got to go do it again. You got to print it again. Now, there are questions about, well, what if this messes up, the rate lock, or they don't fund? Well, now you're dealing with a whole nother monkey, and go on and get a claim started and just see, may the Lord and the good vibes be with you. Right. Now, that's just one thing. The other thing that I tell people to help ease them and give them peace of mind is these companies who we are working for, these signing services, these title companies require us to have insurance because ultimately they are the one who is getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So technically they are the one who's responsible for whatever is going on with the person who paid them for a service.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because we are actually going to do the physical job as a contract worker, yes, it is on us at that level first. But if we do not have adequate un or underinsured, just like car insurance, uninsured or underinsured, if we are either of those as a notary and we are working on behalf of ABC signing services, it's on them.
Mm-hmm.
Trust and believe they have something that's going to cover them documents or whatever they say, because they are actually who was for hire.
Right.
That's
Right.
what gives me peace of mind while the insurance industry works out something that gives loan signing agents a classification of its own. And that's what I tell people.
Right. Okay,
Now,
let's see. Miss Nakia. Okay, so you have E&O and professional. We talked about that. You probably weren't here in the beginning. E&O and professional liability is the same thing. Same thing.
yep, they're synonymous.
E&O
E&O
was
was
just
just an
a
old
word
school
that they
term.
used back in the day. Now it's just called professional liability. Now, when we talked about general liability, that's just to cover your business as a whole. That's like, I wonder what I like. We have what? Homeowners insurance. Then we have car insurance. The homeowners insurance covers us as a home, as like my general liability covers Ebony's mobile notary. My professional liability is my professional liability within like signings or like if something happens um, in the act of being a notary public. But I also needed to protect my business as a whole. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that breaks that down. Let's see. Yes, honey, spreadsheet worthy. Yes, yes, get those tasks in. Yes, I'm here for it. And I do like the way that you keep yours, man. My dang on receipts. Ooh, baby. I got this little bag that I throw them in and it
Well,
gets so
listen,
big and piled up.
you personally know how all over the place I in my life is. So if I don't imagine the terror if I did not. I knew when I got into this industry and I saw how many moving parts and how much we're on the go and you got to be Johnny on the spot and ready to go all the time. I said, if I do not lead with organization, I am going to be in a mess of trouble.
Right.
So I started this way. And like I say, routine. I'm big on routines.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just automatic now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's this first say? If you have an LLC, they can't go after your assets, right? Yeah. Right. They would be going after, but everybody doesn't operate as an LLC, right? You still need, even if you don't operate as an LLC, you still want to get your insurance.
Well, people can go after whatever they want to. You know,
Yeah.
I'm real big on answering questions. Her question is like, they can't go after. They can. Will they be paid if you separate your personal from your business? That's the whole point of separating it. And it's not about LLC. LLC is one of many ways to incorporate your business. You could be an S corp. You could be a sole proprietor. You don't have to be an LLC. That's not the only way. That's just what everybody talk about now. Just like wearing red bottoms when they got real popular. LLC is like the red bottom of how to.
Oh gosh.
I'm actually finna dissolve my LLC. I'm looking at me. I'm about to cuss. Too much of a headache
Really?
for me. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. For one of for one of my businesses. It just
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
My tax
Okay.
man was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Why?
I
Everybody got an
know.
LLC." He was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
He
Why?
was like, "Do you realize what extra like you may need it one day, but." And that's for a different business. But yeah, I'm just making fun because everybody hopped. LLC is behind everything since the pandemic. But
Right.
it don't matter if it's an LLC, a corporation, a sole proprietorship, It doesn't matter how you're incorporated. You can just DBA Ebony Lock.
Doing that, yeah. Okay.
Or Ebony
And you
Lock
guys,
DBA Ebony's
I will
Mobile.
reach out to someone. I do know an attorney, and I'll have her come on. I'll ask at least if
Yeah,
she can
because
come on
that's
and
who
talk
needs to answer that question. But
the
from an insurance
LLC.
standpoint,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how or if you're incorporated. What matters is the work that you're doing is being protected under whatever your business name is. As an insurance agent, I do recommend that you do everything separate. Just like people have multiple businesses and try to have them insured under one type of insurance policy, that's not going to work. Your cosmetology insurance is not going to cover you as a notary. You can't do those together. Everything needs to be separated. So yes, however you do it, separate your business from you, the person.
Right. And
Always.
it's crazy because remember when we first met, you kept telling me about that malpractice nursing insurance. You need to now, we got a nurse that's going to jail. And now I'm like, first of all, I'm scared to work as a nurse right now. Even though as much as I want to go back, I'm like, But
Yeah.
I now know, like, all right, Ebony, you got insurance for Ebony's Mobile Notary. You got insurance for 757 Notary Sisters. Now you need to insure Ebony Locke, the nurse, especially now. So yeah, I kind of got to work through it and figure it all out and make sure that, how much coverage I do need because, we got a lady that's getting ready to go down for manslaughter. And that's just, a whole nother story. But
manslaughter, whoa. But
yeah,
these are things in that industry, you're at risk to stuff like that happening.
right.
It happens. Nobody, let me tell you something. Nobody is safe. And I'm not saying that to scare you, kind of, because I just want people to understand the importance. But in addition to that, we're all just one situation away from something happening. One
Right.
situation away. That is manslaughter. Just by doing your job.
By doing, yeah,
Allegedly.
she did her job a little bit. Right, allegedly. Let's see. If you're a sole prop with a DBA, the general liability is under your business name or under my name. I don't know.
Well, Wanda, that what we just said, separate you from your business. So, not to be a smart ass, but unless you're working under your name, like I said, Ebony Locke, because some people do, they just go work.
Right.
And do notaries under their name. In that case, everything is everything is up for grabs if somebody sues you.
Right.
But if you're commissioned as, I'm gonna use Jane Doe, but you're doing business as ABC Mobile Notary, then your policy is going to cover ABC Mobile Notary, or should. It goes back to what I said: separate you, the person, from your business.
Okay. And it looked like that's what she did. So she's a sole prop with a DBA. So maybe she's doing business as Wanda's Mobile Notary, and her insurance is going to be covered for Wanda's Mobile Notary. And then Wanda Small is who she is. Is that right?
I don't really understand. I mean, I see the question, but it's kind of loaded. But the bottom line is, no matter what the insurance policy is for your for you as a notary, no matter the policy, whether you're a DBA or a LLC, the policy should cover your business.
Okay.
Your business.
Cover
so
your business.
Whatever you call your business.
Okay.
Now, ways to separate that officially is where the attorney talk comes in. But I did mine before I incorporated as an LLC with businesses. It's just as simple as getting my tax ID with my business name and an EIN number.
Okay. Yeah.
That will separate it from you, because the money that's being paid isn't even coming to you and your social. It's coming to your tax ID. So that officially makes it for the business, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Your
Okay.
insurance is always going to be under the name in which you transact business. So I guess to make it a little easier to understand, however you tell people to pay you, whatever that check says. So does that check say Jane Doe, or does that check say ABC Mobile Notary?
Right. I've had to go back and ask
And
someone
tell them to quit writing them in
to
my name.
right. Don't send me no check as Ebony Lock. Ebony Lock is broke. Ebony Lock is broke as a joke. Okay. Don't send no checks to her. You send checks to Ebony's Mobile Notary.
I missed the name of whoever that was. I hope I answered your
That was
question.
Wanda. She's in the
Wanda.
group as well. I know who she
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay, Wanda, I
Yeah.
hope I answered your question. Sometimes,
Oh,
people, because we all have these hypothetical situations. Well, what if this was that? What? And it gets real deep and layered. And those are great questions, but I want to just stick with the core. The core is keep Doe over here. Keep whatever you call your notary business over here. Cover your business as far as your insurance is concerned with the name of however you operate
all right.
for
All
all of
right.
the policies.
At
Yeah.
all policies. All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's tap in. Cyber liability.
So that depends. This Azaran cyber insurance covered under general liability, or should we have a separate cyber policy, or should I request that cyber coverage be included? All of the above. And not general liability, though, your professional liability, the E&O. It will be covered under that if it's offered. One of the policies that we have through the link that Ebony shared with Business Sure, the Beasley policy comes with $50,000 automatically in their policy. No additional charge. It is a part of their professional liability policy. So check and see if your company's already included. If it's not already included, find out how much is it to add it on as an endorsement. An endorsement is an added coverage. So, hey, I want to know, can you do me a quote for cyber liability? And they'll let you know what increments, 50,000, 7,500, whatever. And then they can add it on. If they don't have it as an add-on, it's possible that you can just get a stand-alone policy, which is yet another policy that
Gee.
is called cyber liability,
Okay.
if that's the case. But you should either A, already have it in the policy that you have, B, if not, ask them to add it for an additional charge, or C, go get a standalone cyber liability policy. My phone is on today.
Okay. Okay. Where are you throwing us down to?
No,
Oh, there.
I couldn't get on my MacBook. My MacBook would not allow access to my camera and mic. I tried it. I was like, oh, it's because I'm in private mode. I went to a regular browser, so I was like, let me just go on this phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you. I don't see anybody else with any other questions. So hopefully you guys get it. And again, if you guys need to get a quote, I've put the link in the chat. If you guys need to do a one-on-one with Miss Tracy so that she can answer your specific questions, go on ahead and book that. But again, yeah, I have E&O and I have E&O insurance, which is ultimately professional liability insurance. That is the same thing. I have that. And then I also have another policy for my general liability insurance to protect my business as a whole.
Mhm.
And that's where I separated that. And again, I found that out like later because, of course, when I went to go insure 757, I went looking for E&O, and they were like, no, 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 you need general liability, and I was able to get both of those plans through my farmer's insurance, which was just the add-on on my car insurance, and blah blah. That's the route I went, but click the links, get y'all some quotes regarding insurance. Protect your business, protect you as a notary first,
Mhm.
and protect your business as a whole as well.
And
Is what
listen, like them quotes is cool, but get some policies. Them
I'm
quotes don't cover you. Policies do.
There you go. There you
I
go.
kept telling folks, get a quote, get a quote. At some point last year, I changed that. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
you
get a
had us
policy.
change it. That's what they say in my link tree. Get a policy.
Yeah, because them quotes don't do nothing, but you just sit up getting quotes all day and something didn't happen. You ain't got near policy.
Right,
Probably because you
right,
forgot to go back and buy it. So, get a policy.
right. Yes. So
Well,
I have
Ebony, I
been
certainly appreciate you having this. We're gonna have to do it more often. We need to do just like a standing insurance chat, maybe bi-monthly, where we
right,
just come
something
and
like that.
talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure
Yeah,
it out that we can do it. And
yeah.
you guys, I am gonna reach out. But again, yeah, I can reach out to these attorneys, but these attorneys be wanting some coins. So don't be mad when I be like, it's gonna cost to come to this event because people got to get paid. So I am gonna reach out to an attorney that I definitely like that was able to break down the difference between LLC, DBA, sole prop, and it wasn't in attorney terms. It was like where I could understand it because I be a little slow and I be having to hear it back like 4 and 5 times. So yes, so I will look into that and maybe next month I can get that person on. Y'all know I will, if you guys ask, I will continue to try. So thank you guys for tuning in. Go back and rewatch this if you need to. We definitely covered a lot of information. And y'all, what she say? Hashtag protect your business. Yes, we got to. All right, we out of here. Thank you.
Y'all have a great day. I hope that we answered some good questions and y'all, know how to go about and have some peace of mind while you do your work as a notary.
Right, right. And go on ahead and get it and do the work. And y'all, the insurance
Exactly.
don't be high. It's not that expensive. I promise you it is. It's not that
It might
expensive.
cost you 1 to 3 less Starbucks a week and get a
Right.
Keurig. I share deals on those. That's another topic.
All right.
Bye,
See
y'all. Thanks
y'all.
for having me, Ebony. Everybody have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers.
Yes. Happy Mother's